Hurricane Katrina is often referred to as a natural disaster, as if it was all nature's fault, not man's. Well, the reality, of course, is that federal, state, and local governments all across the Gulf Coast ignored warnings from scientists for years. Both that climate change would lead to increased storm activity and that destruction of the wetlands outside of New Orleans itself had hurt the city's natural defenses against a storm surge. Calls for fixing levees and infrastructure investments went unheeded while the doctrine of markets and profits held sway. Well, this week, a federal district judge finally ruled that the Army Corps of Engineers was indeed responsible, at least for part of the devastation in New Orleans' lower Ninth Ward and parts of St. Bernard Parish. The failure of the Corps to recognize the hazards was, quote, clearly negligent on the part of the Corps. So said U.S. District Judge Stanwood Duval Jr. in his ruling. Furthermore, the judge continued, the Corps not only knew but admitted by 1988, close quote, the threats to human life, and yet it didn't act in time to prevent the catastrophic disaster that ensued. In this decision alone, the government could end up paying some $700,000 in damages. It doesn't sound like enough to me, but more importantly, the ruling could open the gates to judgments that could reach into the billions. No judgment, of course, will bring back the Ninth Ward, which years after Katrina and Rita is still largely a ghost town. But this acknowledgement that the destruction didn't have to happen is important. Long neglect of federal infrastructure by governments more concerned with tax cuts and deficits than human safety. It's not a phenomenon limited to New Orleans, in case you hadn't noticed. By way of reparations, how about not just $700,000 to the plaintiffs in the New Orleans cases, but a recommitment to federal infrastructure spending nationwide? You want national security, stimulus, jobs? That's it. And this is the time. Before D.C. gives us another round of cutbacks to limit deficits and all the rest, let's remember, along the Gulf Coast, the deficit in spending was measured not only in dollars and cents, but still is being measured in lives.